Peace, 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 people. Later on in this broadcast, I'm going to do a response to Blaxit, Juliet, whatever her made up African name is. I don't know. But she did a video not that long ago talking about the Gambia again and not being afraid of still traveling or living on the continent alone. Just definitely a gung-ho about making sure that people do what they're told to do. I want to get to her a little bit later because just to wrap my mind around some of the things that she said. I want to talk about, again, pan-Africanism, how that is playing out right now for us and the mindsets of what people expect us as Black Americans to have overall living in America, the continual misrepresentation of us by various people that are on social media. This is why I do my videos, so that I can be a voice for people that don't want to speak up, but they feel differently about what they see and what they hear. And so through me, hopefully I can provide another avenue of a voice that is more familiar to how they feel, especially if you are Indigenous Black Americans, because people are trying to lose us with this block of Black rhetoric. So that's what I intend to do on my journey with this platform, to tell the truth despite what others want us to talk on and think on. I'm not here to be brainwashed and controlled. I just want to have a voice like everybody else can have one, but chooses not to have one for the most part. So let's review this video, Africa, Our Business First. He talked about the harsh truth about Western Black women's life in Africa. I know that ES was instrumental in breaking down her experience in Ghana. So let's review what this video is about, and I'm going to give my reaction to it. And how you doing, Igor? Gray? I guess that's how you pronounce your name. I'm not sure, but thank you for coming through. All those that are here, please like the video, please share the video, and subscribe to my channel. Let's go.
Africa is not this promised land like everyone thinks it is, or the propaganda that's been spewed. I will speak my truth.
I'm just going to say it. This strong Black woman attitude has got to stop.
Hello and welcome to the channel. If you are clicking for the first time, thank you for dropping by. The past few weeks have been very rough. In Africa, we have lost a couple of sisters, especially in the country of Gambia. Black British mother, just 60 years old. So these are not the best of times. When African diaspora, is trying to come home and facing these kinds of tragedies. In under 2 years already, we are looking at 6 sisters who've lost their lives, who've been removed. I want to look at a brother and a sister go Black to Africa and DIY house and farm. A gentleman and lady who are talking about the challenges of moving and living in Africa. The end goal is for the safety of our sisters who are returning home, especially, but to every African diaspora person who's returning.
Well, you would expect people want to think about safety first, but Pan-Africans don't have that on their mind. It's really amazing to me to see the attitudes of Pan-Africans who are very dismissive about what could be lying in wait for all these different ventures and plans and jumping into trying out stuff for the very first time. People don't mind the risk because they just think that you're supposed to have blind faith to what is going on. But let's listen to some more to what he has to say. Like I said, a lot of people weren't around when Kiki was breaking down these cases in the beginning. One person died, no one cared. Second person died, no one cared. The third person died, no one cared. Fourth person died, people started paying attention a little bit. The fifth one that died, people really start caring and noticing and saying stuff. But they weren't in particularly talking about anything in reference to safety protocols, the culture clash that Western women are facing coming to the Gambia. And I think that that is the hurdle that women can't really get past unless you just can be transformed into a whole new being after being grown all your life, and you're able to do a 180 turn. It is going to be very, very hard for you to be able to thrive, I believe, in a Western African country, to me, as a Western woman, from what my observations show. And ES, again, she's very educated, well-spoken, articulate. She's going to talk about this in a little bit in the video. He's talking about both Go Black to Africa and ES of DIY home, and is it, I forgot what it's called, DIY house and farm. Okay, here we go.
To Africa. They are looking at this from two different worlds. And I'm hoping that being on the continent, I can bring a third perspective to this story and look at what would likely work to just make it easier and better for our brothers and sisters who are coming to the continent. The loss of life is just too tragic. And my heart goes out to the families who've lost loved ones in Gambia and really the rest of Africa. This is AOB. Please check out the stories and let's have a chat at the end of each of these stories.
Why do African Americans choose to go to Africa knowing that there's so many things that have transpired here that we're unaware of? And most will say that there's this spiritual connection. I get a lot of comments where people have really romanticized things, like what's going on in my personal life. And I'm like, I'm living a real life just like anyone else. And the most difficult thing that I've been trying to do since I arrived was to erect a business. And this has given me a full-blown view on what it means to be a woman in Ghana in particular. And there's so many differences that we experience, especially within the realm of wanting to conduct business, because the American woman is she's coming with an independent mind state. And unfortunately, for years, there's been this propaganda that's toxic to think independently, but the universe put her in that position for a reason. So anyways, when you have an American woman that's dealt with trauma and have a historical background of many different things, and she enters into a new environment, she'll have to adapt to this new one, and the new one doesn't necessarily want to adapt to her. So many times we often we're kind of overlooking the difficult.
Just keep that in mind, because the environment is very important for us to understand that, you can't change the environment. We can't change what is. When we come with our independent mind, so what? We have that rearing. People say it's not good, but in some respects is perfect, because we can see things at a different vantage point from other points of views. We can decipher things. We can discern things. It makes you smarter on your toes. It makes you wittier, and it makes you fearless in a lot of circumstances. So there's nothing wrong with being independent minded. People have put a stain on this notion of being independent, but again, that's what our situation has been. That's who we are. We can't change our stripes and colors for other people to feel at ease about themselves, because we have come from a different mindset. It is what it is. We can't change. But people feel like we ought to be able to just change like that, to integrate into a new culture, a new language, a new food, a new attitude, a new spirit. And it's just not really that easy. And I think that a lot of women, single women in particular, will have or grapple with many more issues because, again, people are, seeing us for the first time. And there's going to be more and more people that influence others to still try to fly and travel and go live and whatever. So it's not going to stop, but we have to always paint the picture as it is. And people such as Blaxit, Juliet, and others don't want that picture to be really realized, because it would cause us to think longer and ponder whether or not it makes sense to go do the things in which people are trying to get us to go do. How you doing, Miss D? D, how you doing? You said that has nothing to do with strong Black women. We don't mess with the continent like that. We don't mess with the continent like that, but people feel like me speaking up about what has been going on the continent is discouraging others. It makes you think more, I would guess. People are thinking a lot more on what they want to do and how they should maneuver, and they're taking their sweet time thinking. And I think that that should be something that you want to maybe consider continuing to do. Take your sweet time. Don't rush. There is nothing out there that should cause you to rush. When you rush is when you make a whole lot of unforeseeable mistakes. And people will just tell you should have did your due diligence. I did catch a little bit of the Bag family, Black Acres, and they're trying to excuse away the deaths and saying that you could still be single or a couple and come to the Gambia. They, again, is just trying to minimize what that really is about. But it's really peculiar to me. None of these people were talking before these tragedies happened. They weren't around when Angela was crying out. They weren't around when these other deaths were going on. They just kept to themselves. And now that other people are caring, finally, they want to put out the fire. They want to put out the fire. All the Pan-Africans are wanting to put out the fire as fast as possible so they can get on with their hustle of trying to create the picture, the perfect picture of Africa. And again, that is, to me, very devilish. It's diabolic, because they are not being fair with what the truth calls for us to be at this time. So let's get back to ES and see what she has to say. I'm not going to stay on this video for the duration, but I wanted to at least let it be known how a perspective of someone that's on the ground in Africa really feels about how Western women should relate, or could they relate. She's doing well, but she still has her troubles. But I'm sure, like most of us, we can't relate. We're not going to be able to relate to a whole new another culture. It's just going to be too hard to do.
Looking the difficulties that we do have when we're here. Not only that, are we dealing with that dynamic? There's so many things pertaining to social, meaning that most men don't want a woman saying things that are strong and or truthful and or authoritative. And so most American women are coming.
And what happens when she does? Does she get popped upside her mouth? Does she get called all kinds of names? What happens to her when she shows herself as being outspoken? What types of harassment or someone trying to degrade you for being that type of woman? What would happen to that type of woman, really?
With that empowered concept of being. We also have this thing where people see Ghanaian men in particular, African men, as family men. not taking into consideration that there's a lot of things that come with that. Africa is not this promised land like everyone thinks it is, or the propaganda that's been spewed. I will speak my truth. When you come into an environment like this, all of your learnings can come tumbling down, can completely dissolve, can completely disintegrate, because it's not an environment where you can cultivate all of that empowerment and that strength. And I think to myself, is that a good thing? If something is good to you or good for you, should it bring you to tears, to where you feel emptiness and unhappiness, to where you feel disconnected without support, where you feel more foreign than when you first arrived? You know, so I can relate to these things, because guess what? I was born in America too. You have to be wise about your decisions as to why you're coming here. In all honesty, what happens to the American woman when she comes here, who she was, who she learned to be in her home country, everything that her parents taught her, her guardians taught her, to empower her, to uplift her, to strengthen her through her toxic experiences, they are completely almost shattered when she comes into an environment like this, because the women do not have the empowerment that your ancestors fought for. They are just...
So consider that as we try to see what the hell is going on with Juliet of Blaxit. What in the hell was she talking about when she's bringing up these deaths? And again, how demonic sounding she is and unempathetic she is. It just reiterates to me that this woman is got to be a witch, bitch. She got to be. HM, women don't have to be strong. They can get what they want with their softness. They can disarm men. I don't know about that always. I don't think that always is the case. If these men have an attraction to you and you don't have an attraction to them, being nice to them and being soft-spoken may not give them the right message for them to know that you're not interested. Being blunt and to the point, sometimes you have to be as a woman to let a man know that you're not looking to be picked up by them, because they just assume sometimes if you're soft-spoken and feminine that you're accommodating and submissive to any man. Some of them mistake that for that, in my opinion. But we wish as women that we wouldn't have to be so strong. Trust me. We would love to just have others, you know, care for us and, you know, open doors for us and be sweet to us and be reasonable with us and be fair with us. But that's not the world and what we live in. What's up, Ben? How you doing? We don't generally live in that world where people really look out for women like that. So it's kind of not reality for us to assume that men are just decent people. I'm not saying all men are trash, but there are an awful lot that are on the level of being not really worthy of conversation, because they bring so much toxicity to us, and they never ever try to correct what they do. I'm trying to find this video. In this video, okay, let me hold on. All right, here we go.
Juliet, don't say it, because I get my mouth in a twist. Thank you. Yeah, of course we love God, and of course God loves us. Yeah, we mustn't ever forget that. Okay, about do I love God? Why not? You know, but if you ask me about God, the image of God is like myself. So if you ask me, no, I'm not worshipping any white Jesus and any white God. I just say it like it is. And I'm not worshipping any white goddess either. I'm worshipping the image of the divine feminine, of the empress, of the high priest.
She worships the divine feminine, the high priestess. That is on the order of witchcraft. I want y'all to really hear that again, because I have asserted that she is on that level. And to me, she is on that level. And she just slipped up and let herself hang out right there. a lot of these Pan-Africans, unfortunately, are a part of dark magic. And they be letting their hair down when it comes to being this type of being right here. Let me rewind it some.
It's not
And give it another minute.
Some of the people that have passed here had underlying health issues before they came. Before they came, you can't put everybody together and lump it as though all these people are being unalived in Gambia, and now you're making Gambia sound like an unsafe place to be. I was out last night, and I want to say a big shout out to Steve and Lavinia, who I was out with, and also Audi Boy. We were out having dinner at a lodge in Fajara. And a beautiful lodge, you know, lovely food. Yeah, no, Juliet, don't say it, because I get my mouth in a twist. Thank you, yeah. Of course we love God, and of course God loves us. Yeah, we mustn't ever forget that, okay? About do I love God? Why not? You know, but if you ask me about God, the image of God is like myself. So if you ask me, no, I'm not worshipping any white Jesus and any white God. I just say it like it is. And I'm not worshipping any white goddess either. I'm worshipping the image of the divine feminine, of the empress, of the high priestess. I am not worshipping any white God. I'm sorry to tell you this. I'm in Africa. Why should I go and look at and worship someone who does not look like me? So if you have a problem with that, that's your problem, but I am not. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, they say God look like me, so why am I going to worship a white God for? Isn't God the image of you? Okay? I'm tired of the self-hate.
Like I said, I've always thought that she was a witch, and she just described herself as being one right there. In fact, I want to pull up a witch that calls herself a high priestess to have you understand, like, a lot of these Pan-Africans are in the dark witchcraft. They are into that. And so these deaths to them are sacrificial candies, sweet to the taste. They don't look at the overall arching theme of, you know, this could be kind of dangerous for us to get comfortable moving as we have been moving, because we're lining ourselves up bit by bit by bit, one by one, getting plucked. And here is a witch who is going to describe some of the things in which she's partaking in. So she mentioned high priestesses. She's a high priestesses witch right here.
Blessings. So I wanted to come and say this really quick. My name is High Priestess Jamila, and I do run a small business providing witchy services for the public, and I've been doing it since 2015. So I wanted to come and make something very clear. What is my job? What do I do for a living? Okay. I am a witch, a high priestess witch that does spiritual work for people. Period.
Mind you, these feminists that are Pan-Africans tend to be into witchcraft or African spirituality or juju or voodoo, all these types of things that they are partakers of. You heard her. She got asked the question about God out the blue. She wasn't expecting that question, and it triggered her. I don't know if you guys caught how she was triggered, but she was triggered. I serve the high priestesses, the feminine, the divine. I don't recognize a God that is white. I am divine feminine. A feminist, a globalist, a witch, a Pan-Africanist, a witch, a globalist.
That means that if you come to me and you want love work, I will do the work for you. No questions asked. I'm not inquiring about this or about that. I don't care what is happening as long as, you know, we get things straight when it comes to certain spiritual extras, when it comes to love work, which possibly could be kickback, you know, extra timing, especially if you're doing a third party situation.
Again, they're into spells, they're into hexes, they're into getting people to do what they want them to do. They're into brain control, mind control. That is what she's into. And she is spilling her heart out talking about what she's not into. Let me go back to that rant one more again. Because again, someone asked you a question about God and you just get all rantified. Like Gail said, you said, yeah, she went on a whole rant over one comment. Yes, she did. But the question was about God. Some people that don't believe in God really show their colors off if you catch them off guard. They'll let you know. They'll let you know real quick in a hurry that they are not worshiping no God. What is God to them? You understand what I'm saying? And she's on that level.
A lodge in Fajara. And a beautiful lodge, you know, lovely food. No, Juliet, don't say it, because I get my mouth in a twist. Thank you, yeah? Of course we love God, and of course God loves us. Yeah, we mustn't ever forget that, okay? About do I love God? Why not? You know, but if you ask me about God, the image of God is like myself. So if you ask me, no, I'm not worshipping any white Jesus and any white God. I just say it like it is. And I'm not worshipping any white goddess either. I'm worshipping the image of the divine feminine, of the empress, of the high priestess. I am not worshipping any white God. I'm sorry to tell you this.
Who are y'all following? Who are y'all following? Do y'all know who y'all are ultimately following? She let her guards down and she did not expect to ask the question about God. That was totally out of left field. But again, she showed it live.
In Africa, why should I go and look at and worship someone who does not look like me? So if you have a problem with that, that's your problem. But I am not. I am not. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, they say God look like me. So why am I going to worship a white God for? Isn't God the image? As far
as I knew, God is not a color. God is a spirit. I never knew that God was like a human being. He's a spirit. You can't contain him. You cannot see him. He's everything. He's everywhere. He's through all things and all people and all climates and all weathers and all everything. That is all of the above. That is God. So you cannot make God into the form or image of man for yourself. And that's what she's calling herself doing.
you? Okay? I'm tired of the self-hate. And yes, that's right. I do love Jamaica. That's where my parents were born. Wode Maya was there. If you was watching Wode Maya, you would have seen how beautiful and lovely Jamaica is. I love Jamaica. However, I know that I am African and I have returned to my roots.
She's African and she have returned to her roots. If only she could think that for herself and leave everybody else out of it. But that's not what she intends to do.
This is my ancestral roots. Okay? You know, the thing is that we need to create, you know, more business and less barrier. You got these other people coming in, these other people who are not like us coming in making business, taking. They coming in every day, not being bothered by the locals, not one iota. But the Black Americans and the UK woman can't say the same thing now, can you? The other people that come in, the Indians and the Chinese or whatever, come in and they isolate themselves and they don't have to have nobody infringing on their property, on their work, on their space. They secure it. They're able to make their own island within the Gambia. But that cannot be the case for Black Americans or they would burn that shit down.
So we are at the mercy of the locals, whether we like it or not. When we go there, we're not comparable to the Chinese and the Asians, or the Indians rather.
Making investments, and what are we doing? We're sitting, going online and trying to put off other, potential investors that look like us. It has to stop. Yes, there was a murder here, and I put out information on the community page. I put out the court hearing information, and I put out the police report information. And yes, it was a non-Gambian. But I'm not saying that, Gambians are free of crime. No nation is free of crime. Okay? I'm an African. And I choose to live in Africa. Okay? It's like, the way I see it is, I don't know anyone who lives in a country where murder doesn't exist. If you do, tell me in the comments here, I live in a country where murder doesn't exist. Tell me. These things happen.
Again, how much empathy has she shown? None. No empathy whatsoever. Rumor has it that her and Shakina were not friends. They weren't friendly towards her passing. No empathy, no sympathy, no nothing. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat room real quick. Thank you all for coming through. I really appreciate you. If you could, please like and share the video. I would greatly appreciate that. Let me see. Come on now. Okay. What's up, Four Rivers? GD, how are you doing? Bedina, babe, how you doing? Gail at night, how you doing? Anything for clicks? HM, Leonard, brother Leonard, and everybody else, awesome kid, and everybody else in the clouds. If you have not yet, please like the video. Please show support by subscribing to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Okay. Okay, you said, I think that women end up having to be strong when they don't make it obvious that they are not interested, HM says. They can still be disarming in conversation in a way that only a woman can. Well, I hope you're right. I pray that you're right. But from my experience, maybe because I'm too strong sounding, I don't know. My tone, I don't try to sound particularly aggressive, but some men or some women sometimes mistake my tone for being aggressive. And it's like, no, I'm just talking normal. I don't know what you're talking about. You said her voice is more pleasant. You think it's pleasant? Whose voice? You talking about ES? Leonard says, you ain't shit for black. I'm hollering. What are you talking about? Gail and I says, yeah, she went on a whole rant over one comment. And Leonard says, that's Jamila. She burned Dookie in her house for curses. What? That's the girl Mike Mills pooped on? I don't know who you're talking about. HM, even with these examples you are showing, the fact that they are women makes me let their guard down around them. These self-proclaimed witches are idiots, Four Rivers says. The only reason they're accepting witchcraft is because society is making it popular through Hollywood movies, etc. Their followers. Yes. But it's still a dangerous thing for people to be trying to do spells on you or trying to control you or trying to have you do something against your will. Bedina says, what happened to her voice? She sounds like a witch. She looks like a witch. She sounds like a witch to me. Gail said, nobody said anything about self-hate. Everything's self-hate if you're not worshiping Africa. That's what I want y'all to get in this video understanding. If you are not worshiping Africa, if you're not talking all grand about it, you're self-hating according to Pan-Africans. You're self-hating according to some Western and Central Africans. That's what they're talking on. Four Rivers says she has a heavy accent with an annoying British accent. Sounds like she's chewing gravel. Okay, you think Dodge will go $1? Maybe not. You say 2? No empathy at all. No empathy at all. It's like you would think that someone just got into a car accident and they just got jumbled up a little bit. You wouldn't think someone just got murdered like about a week ago or so ago, and that all these other deaths, not that far apart from one another, have happened. And again, these women were all single for the most part at the time of their death. They weren't accompanied by a man. Most of them have been living alone. A couple of them were complaining of different circumstances of threats, stalking, feeling uncomfortable. Maybe a couple had underlying effects, but no one knows because no autopsies were taken to determine the cause of death. But we're supposed to just pretend like everything is okay. You said, I think they were saying ES voice is more pleasant than Black. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she has a real nice voice than Blaxit. You said she speaks as if they're just objects. That's what I'm saying. Eye movement. She's announcing her featuring Sakina's info to garner channel clicks. She was silent on the death until she was called out. Exactly. She was called out. After she was called out, then she reluctantly came and did a video. She was annoyed to be doing the video. That's why her rawness came out within that wicked stream that I showed of her not showing no compassion for those women whatsoever. It was like, oh, give me a break. People die everywhere. They all die. They die everywhere. And then she had the nerve to say, and you're going to hear that we live to die. Now, if you look up live to die, do you know what y'all get on your phone? Let me just show you. When you put live to die, I think that's what it says. Okay, hold on, let me make sure. We live to die. She said, let me put it as she says it. We live to die. She said this. And you get a suicide crisis lifeline. She's going to say that phrase in her video. And this is what pops up if you put that in the search engine of the YouTube. Suicide, 988 suicide and crisis line. She's pronouncing and declaring in this video that we live to die. That we are just sacrificial lambs. That's what it is. That's what it means. That's what she meaning as.
Not nice and it's not right, but it happens. But it doesn't deter you from going to other countries. How many people in Africa know how many crimes happen in America, how many murders happen in America, and how many of you would still want to get an American passport and still want to go to America? Okay, how many? Thank you so much, Juliet.
Yeah, people risk their life to come to America from Africa, but people don't risk their life to come to Africa unless you're implying that that's what we ought to do, that's what you're implying that we ought to do, risk our lives coming to Africa. That is the bottom line and what it is that they desire for us to want to do.
Oh yeah, GMAC, don't forget to get in contact with me. Okay, I just sent you back an email. So, it's like betrayal. I feel like, when you're in a relationship and you do good, yeah? In fact, I'm talking to the ladies or the men, okay? So it goes both ways. And you meet someone and you are so good to that person. You are kind to that person. You are loyal to that person. You do not cheat on that person. Okay, you give them your own. She can't say that though because she cheated on her husband. So what is she talking about? Even desiring to say such a thought? You don't even know what loyalty is, lady. Beast lady. You don't know what loyalty is. You were married and you stepped out on your marriage. Didn't you have a baby lately? Or aren't you about to have a baby? Which one is it? I'm confused. You give them your best, you share, you give them respect, you give them honor, and give them that all-important good body works. Do you know what I'm talking about, okay? Yeah, you hit it up, great, you get it, you give it all your best, and you give them the best of you. And then they go behind you after they're living with you. I'm sorry, living in you. Ooh. And then they start talking bad about you behind your back because you might have had an argument or a disagreement, or because something happened, they start talking bad about you. When you were loyal and you never cheated on them, you never did anything to harm them. And they're doing this while they were the ones that were cheating on you the whole time. They were the ones that were cheating on you the whole time. You understand? How do you feel? You feel betrayed. You feel betrayed. And if you've been in Gambia and Gaza, okay.
That's how Adrian feels betrayed. The wonders of how people forget what they do. Wow.
And then, you've been loyal to them. You never cheated on them. You never did anything to them. You never harmed them. You never had a finger on them. But they were cheating on you the whole time, but they never told you, right? So you will feel betrayed. And if Gambia's been good to you, and because of a murder, you turn your back and then you badmouth your home, it's a lack of loyalty. It's a lack of loyalty. Not to say that the act doesn't happen in other places, because crimes happen everywhere. But it's that lack of loyalty. Africa's already, got so much bad representation. Why do we have to add to it? Why? Why?
Again, she's only worried about you praising Africa. That's all this is about. And praising and worshiping something that is not of God and is not God is what? Blasphemy. What? Idolatry. Idolatry.
Thank you so much, G-Mac. Thank you so much for the super sticker donation. Thank you so much. I so appreciate it. I just want to know why. Why do we do this? Every time there's a crime or something, let's pretend like George Floyd didn't exist then, or this didn't exist then, or that didn't exist then. But the thing is that, yes, I don't say that we shouldn't highlight crimes in order to, the minute something happens. Yeah, Gambia's only got 2 million people. G-Man, pick yourself up, and thank you for that lovely donation. Right? Jason's greetings, please, sister, love and continue your hard work and positive representation of Africa. I'm going to, because I live in a lovely home. I'm sitting here, in my living room. This is where I'm at. You understand? I'm talking to you from my own home. And so, they don't want you to realize. I was out last night and I was with a lovely singer who's a great singer here, and her husband. I don't want to mention their name in case they don't want me to mention their names. And they were there last night, and I was asking them, they live here for now. 2 years. And they came from Virginia in America. And, I was talking about, we talked about this, and, we talked about the situation. He said, look, girl, I'm much safer situation. He said, look, girl, I'm much safer here. I am much safer here. And then the lady who was his wife was telling me about what it was like for her before she left, to get out of Virginia before she came here. And she told me this story, and, about how people were killing themselves, and the terrible things that were happening because people were having anxiety and depression and pressure. Don't understate your situation. Where people don't want to talk about, the situation that's around them. They want to talk about everything else. You're sitting in America talking about Gambia. I don't even understand it. You don't even know what's going on here on the ground. You're just hearing something.
Apparently we did, because we decided, we understood that Anja was in trouble, and she was. We didn't have to be in the Gambia to know that. You guys didn't care about Anja being in trouble, though. I did a video 2-3 weeks ago talking about beware Black Americans for, these possible dangers that's going on in the Gambia as a single woman. And then Shakina, who is a UK woman, she gets killed 2 weeks later after the video. It's not a figment of our imagination that is escalating. Something is being done over there that shouldn't be done over there, and it has to change. We have to change, or something has to change. And I don't think that we can change what's over there, because that's the environment. That's what they have set up to do.
It's online, but when people are well as well, some people were going through their own demons, we're going through their own, shadow time. and they weren't always well in their heads.
Now she's implying that Anja Africa was not well in her head. Anja Africa was not crazy. She just seen a lot. She knew a lot, and it was bothering her spirit. She had a lot of paranoia and anxiety behind what she knew. She was warning us, though, to her doom. And rest in peace to her for having the courage to step out and still speak her truth despite how it looked and felt to her at the time. It cost her life. Like I said, once I dropped my video on the 5th of December, after a couple of weeks of not hearing of her, I started inquiring about where she was. Nobody really cared to see what was going on with her. They left her high and dry until we did a number of videos. And then that next month is when they went out to go see about her. But by then she was already on the floor, unresponsive. Had they went and treated her like an emergency or something that needed to be handled, there's a chance that her life would have been spared, in my opinion. But nobody such as Black X, Juliet, or any other Pan-African took the time to go inquire about their sister Anja Africa, because they don't consider each other sisters, first of all. And they don't care about unity. It's just all for play. It sounds good rolling out of your mouth, but when it comes to practicalities of doing it, you're not going to do it. They're not doing it.
No, it's not everything you're to take as gospel. What I'm trying to say to you is that sometimes you have to realize where someone was in their heads before, you've got to analyze, use sense and make sense. If you see nonsense, it's because it's nonsense, okay? So all I want to say is that I'm not going to stay here too long, because I only plan to be here for like 20 to 30 minutes max. All I want to say to you is don't let the naysayers deter you from coming to Africa. I beg you, please do not. You'll be doing yourself a great injustice. Africa is so wonderful, and Africa cannot be determined and cannot be defined by one crime or two crimes. Especially when so many of us was murdered here when they were taking our ancestors into bondage, into slavery, into warfare. Okay? We know that the blood of our ancestors was spilled here. We know that the lives of our ancestors were lost. How many millions upon millions upon millions upon millions upon millions? And we are not going to let a few people talking online stop us from coming back home. I promise you that. I have land, which is repatriation land, which is, highly discounted for us to come back home. I am not sitting here negotiating hard with alcalos, negotiating hard with landowners and begging, to get land cheaper for us to come home to, so that we can turn our nose up on the place which is our rightful birthright, which is our birthright, which is our place. We deserve to have a piece of paradise. This is what the couple said yesterday. Another couple that came here for the first time from England. Steve and Lavinia came here for the first time, and they were just saying it's amazing. How they loved it. And this is it. These are the stories that we need to hear.
Speaking of which, you're talking about land sales and whatnot, but she doesn't talk about her being allegedly accused of land scams herself. And ironically today, Tay of Travels talked about these scams. Let's listen.
Quick live coming to deal with these people, right? These are the same people that want to tell people to come to Africa, right? How many times has Blaxit said, come to Africa, the West, blah, blah, blah. How many people are still asking for their papers? How many people are still saying that they can't build after giving Blaxit money for land? How many people are saying that? How many people have went to serious crimes, but they got their money back? Right? How many people are going to build on land that does not have, when they don't have their papers? No one. No one's going to do that. But this is what Juliet is telling people, right? This is what she's saying. This is what she's saying. Oh, just build. She didn't build if she didn't have her papers. So let me, y'all know, I'm looking for my headphones because I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear me. I'm in the car, the air conditioner's on, so I'm looking for my headphones. But y'all know that I told you that Marshmallow Woman has the nerve to sue me, right? But let's go back a little bit, right? Did she not, the guy that I'm suing, our Kathy and her dude, right? Her business partner. Did Juliet from Blaxit, did she not have the opportunity to take this man down? You can't hear. Okay. Give me a second. Wait, where's my headphones?
Someone couldn't hear. Can you imagine? Please like the video, y'all. Please share the video. Subscribe to my channel. Again, these land scams have been really called out in the last 2-3 years in the Gambia, also Ghana. And she has been in the middle of court proceedings with a lot of different people. She's talking about Kwesi, and she's talking about Art Kathy, and she's also talking about the alleged scams that Juliet Blaxit has also caused or had happen on her watch. Let's listen.
I'm like, where's my headphones? He said, I didn't see it. Give me a second, y'all. This is Africa, right? We got some children in the back. I don't want y'all to see them. This is nonsense. This is absolute nonsense. Thank you, Afia in Africa. Thank you so much, sister. Is that better? Let me know if that's better, okay? I'm loud and clear. Thank you so much. So, let me start over. Greetings, family. Welcome back to our Tay. I am in the Gambia. I don't know how to do the newscaster voice, right? I don't know how to do that. So, what I was saying is, we know that, hey, Kenya TV, we know that Blaxit, Juliet from Blaxit will get online and will tell people, come to Africa, come to Africa, right? But what is she doing to help y'all come to Africa? Because what she's doing is, how many people have sent her money, sent Blaxit money for land, right? But then they can't build, including THC, right? He said, I had to stop building because the paperwork is only going to go to a certain level. But let's question why. Are there taxes on that land? So she's telling people to come to Africa, all the while scamming. Because we know if you purchase land and you do not have your paperwork, no one is going to build. Not one person will ever build if you don't have your paperwork. Mbase Nelson, nothing. I know couples who are struggling to get their paperwork. I do not have an iPhone. Can y'all hear me though? I'm using these bootleg headphones. I don't come out the house with my good headphones because I don't want them to be stolen. Right? Let me turn the air conditioning down. Let me do that. You may hear me better if I could. The air conditioner was on. No, Kenya TV. I am not an iPhone person. Apple don't work for me. I'm a Samsung girl. Android, right? So Mbase, you're right. No one is going to build if they do not have their paperwork. Do you think that her and her ex-husband built if they didn't have their paperwork? No. Thank you. I'm stressed out. Those people will not get paperwork because there is no land. That money went to her house. It went somewhere. I think it went in her belly. I think it went in her belly, right? But for her to tell me, when I was staying there, for her to tell me, oh, they could just build. No one's going to build without their land papers. Now, y'all already know that this heifer had a nerve to sue me, right? But let's take it back a little bit. Let's take it back, right? When Art Kathy and her business partner started all this nonsense. KNTV, let me get into that because I'll be all over the place. So, but I did post a video of my favorite food. When Art Kathy and her business partner started all this nonsense of scamming us of all this money, right? Blaxit had the opportunity to keep this man in prison for attempted murder. Y'all remember that video, right? When he walked into the Gambia restaurant, picked up a chair and busted a tube out upside his head. Almost split his wig. That is attempted murder. Attempted murder. But the white British people thought that he was Gambian. So if y'all can go back to that video, right? They thought that he was Gambian. So they were like, oh, $150,000 will hurt someone. So someone in the comments was like, not an American. For attempted murder? Y'all, an American will be happy to pay $3,000 to get out of an attempted murder charge. But what did Blaxit do? What did they do? They used their standing in the country to get him off. So she's so gangster. Why didn't she hold him accountable? Because Blaxit had just started and blah. Wouldn't you respect people more for being honest? Hey,
but they don't have honesty, so keep on dreaming. Pan-Africans don't have honesty, so keep on dreaming. Let me see what you guys are saying. Thank you all for participating in the chat room. I really appreciate it. Let me go back up. Okay. Yes, the other lady's voice was more pleasant. I wouldn't be surprised if Blaxit now, where was I? My phone keeps on acting up. What is going on? Let me just go backwards. Sorry about that. Four Rivers FS says, people from the West move to the Gambia because it's the smiling coast. They don't realize what appears to be a smile is a river that during rainy season swells badly and makes life very difficult. Well, I'm glad you letting them know. I'm glad you letting them know, Four Rivers. Leonard says, here's the trick when they say the answers, they are talking about the falling ops. Ha ha, the falling ops. Okay. Gail at Night says, that's good to eye movement. Gail at Night says, what is she going to do to stop people from telling the bad and ugly about Africa? That's what they will like. You know, when I first started watching YouTube back in 2018, there wasn't really a lot of safety worry or consideration for anything pertaining to traveling abroad. It was just like, come, get a passport. Come jump on this deal for the plane ride. Come for holiday. Come for Christmas. Come pretend like Africa is the Mecca. Come, just come. That was it. And so people didn't consider any danger. They just went because people said come. That's what the year of return was about. No consideration of anything. They just went. And ultimately made Ghana a fortune, although the locals didn't get a taste of it. But nonetheless, we were hustled out of $1.9 billion. And people just think that is just something that we need to keep doing. How many ways can we hustle the American? How many ways can we get all that money from up under them and, you know, cause them to spend and shell out dollars? And that has been the theme, the rhyme for everything in which Pan-Africans talk and relate and suggest. They always only talk about investment, land, building. That's it. That's all. Investment, land, build. Investment, land, build. Spend, spend, and then spend some more. Risk it all. Give it all up. Worship this thing, this journey, this Africa. Just think about that one lady that went on her dream vacation to Ivory Coast. And she was the lady that was stricken with malaria. And that was like one of her bucket list things to do. And that was the last thing that she was able to do. She died, even though she did all the things she was supposed to do, took the pills, had the shots, did all these things. Ultimately, it was her doomsday. And that's what I mean about, for some people, it's going to be a financial woe, or it's going to be a health woe, or it's going to be an unliving woe, or, you know, you're homeless. You have to start all over again. All those things are happening more and more and more because more people are running out of money. I think that when a lot of people moved a couple of years ago, those people now are struggling. 2-3 years later, they were okay the first year, the second year, and then maybe the third, fourth year, things started getting a little bit harder. Okay. You said manic. I wonder if she's a pill popper. Yeah, the outcome for those women were very disturbing. Gail at Night says, this is Gambia, not just Africa, though. And the unexplained deaths in such a smiling coast is disturbing, shaking my head. It's said that people resort to witchcraft to gain things they don't deserve or want to work for, Four Rivers says. Wow. That's what I keep hearing. Like the siphoning of energy, the cutting off of someone's life so that you can gain their strength, their power, their attributes or whatever like that. Their power. It's a trip to hear. But that's one of the things in which they like to do, or control. They attempt to control people. They attempt to manipulate people, to trick people. Gail says, I wouldn't be surprised if Blaxit owned those women money. They have something on her, or she'll benefit from them being dead. What happened to those women's property? That's what I'm talking about, Gail. That's now you're on to something big. I always wonder, I heard one of the properties is in now the possession of her ex-boyfriend or fiance or something. Who knows if they were still together? I don't know. We don't know. But supposedly he's now living on the land and the property of one of the people that passed, one of the ladies that passed away. What about the latest, Shakina? What's going to happen to her property? What's going to happen to her money? What's going to happen to her land? What's going to happen? All that effort. She had been there for 7-8 years, y'all. 7 or 8 years. And it ended like that. Just like that. Rest in peace to Shakina. I know that Anja Africa was there for just 2 years. And then she passes. It's like just a matter of years. That's it. Just like the 2 sisters that went to Ghana and they had their life taken from them. 2015. They have been there for some time. Just like that. That's how it ended. But no one's supposed to think about any of that. Let me see. But yeah, I wonder what's going to happen to the women's property. And I wonder also, Gail, about the cases that were pending about the land disputes. Wasn't she handling some of those cases? Shakina was supposedly handling land disputes as an attorney or somebody in that field. What's going to happen to those cases now? Are they going to be thrown out? Or everybody just going to lose their money and everybody just walk away? That's another question. Let me see. Let me go back up. Okay, I already read that. All right, so you said $1.9 billion who got that money in Africa. That's disgusting. Black Americans could have saved that money because most had to come back to the West. It was more expensive. It's more expensive now. Yeah, they had to start all over again. A lot of people had to start all over again. Some couldn't start all over again. Some just asked out like that. You know what I'm saying? Let's get back to Blaxit. I just needed a break from her wickedness. I can't wash her straight through sometimes, but I just wanted to let y'all understand she has controversy revolving around her with these land purchases. So her selling more purchases of land, she just has a new commercial out, in fact, just today. Let me show y'all this ridiculousness. Just today.
Blaxit family, Blaxit family.
And look how goofy she looks. Look how goofy she looks and look how goofy she sounds.
Blaxit family, how are you? It's been a while. Welcome. This is Nyancho Kajabi. That's my Gambian name to Blaxit. Thank you for joining Blaxit. Welcome to Blaxit if you are new to our YouTube channel. Blaxit is all about your repatriation, relocation, back to the motherland, back to Africa. This is the place to be. That's right. And Blaxit, we specialize in inward investment back into Africa. And that's what we should all be doing, is reinvesting our time, our energy, our money, our creativity, and of course, our skills back into Africa. This is the land from whence we came, and where am I today? I am in the beautiful, beautiful Gambia, and Gambia is the beautiful...
Again, that's all she'll ever provide is fakeness for this everlasting paradise of Gambia or Africa. That's it. That's all. That's all she got for you. Gail at Night says, if they didn't have proper autopsies, they were murdered in my eyes. If they had health issues, let the autopsy tell us. Yeah. And like I said, Gail at Night, you can also have a health issue and get poisoned. You can also have a health issue and get jammed up and tripped up and beat up. Like I said, Anja, to be in that case of locked in syndrome, she had an injury to her pawn. She did not have an injury prior to her last sight on YouTube 2 months before. Somehow she got an injury. Who helped her get the injury? We don't know if she fell and got the injury on her own. We don't know if somebody was there messing with her and hurt her. We have no idea if somebody didn't poison her or force feed her or did something. We have no idea. The last time we heard her was complaints of stalking. That's all we know. So without autopsies, there's wiggle room for questions. And that is why you cannot just dismiss and say these people went to Africa to die. Because that's what Juliet of Blaxit would like you to believe. They all decided to go to Africa to die. And it's pretty gross. It's pretty gross. You see, yes, it is gross. It is gross. Let's get back to this beast of a woman. She definitely reminds me of a beast. And I don't appreciate somebody like her. Hold on, let me see. Where is that video?
First thing you must do is look, listen, observe.
How scary is the news when you see on the BBC that someone died in London, or that someone died in Northamptonshire, or that someone died in East Ham, or that someone died in Stratford, or that someone died in Hackney, or that someone died in Liverpool, or that someone died in Leytonstone, or that someone died in Leighton, or that someone died in Forest Gate, or that someone died in Brixton, or that someone died in Stockwell, or that someone died in North London, or that someone died in Tottenham, or that how many people were unalived? How many black people were unalived or found unalived after I left England? Brother Dougie. How many? So many people. Where, especially, even look at Sasha was shot in the head. Listen, if you want to talk, let's go back there and talk, because it's not as prevalent here as it is there. That's just the truth. Ain't it scary where you are? Because it's not scary where I am. I don't feel scared, and I'm living here. If I don't feel scared and I'm living here, that's what I'm saying to you. I'm saying to you, yes, be vigilant, yes, be safe, but don't be scared. What are you scared for? That's what they want. The demon wants you to live in fear. Fear paralyzes you. I'm never fear of death or anything else, because I'm here to live my life. And every moment of it, I'm going to enjoy it. And that's why I'm here and not there. That's why I'm not in the UK, because I want to enjoy my life. That's why I'm not in the US, because I want to enjoy my life. Who lived a long life and died of illness, or even had a peaceful long life and just died of old age. But they're not mentioned, because
those women are not old. Those women were what, mid 50s to early 60s, if that.
Want to sensationalize, dramatize. We as soon as, how many unalive, how many people are deleted, or how many people are this, or how many people have been that. And it's completely separate cases, separate people, separate health conditions at separate times, not to be lumped together. Okay? Not to be lumped together. We're doing ourselves a great injustice. And there's too many liars online, and I'm tired of them. Tired of them. And I'm tired of people lying on me too. Just lying. Because I talk the truth, then they want to go.
Well, I wasn't lying on you when you said that you worshipped the goddess divine, and you said that you look up to a highest, a priestesses. Yeah, you are a witch. You already told on yourself. And who knows what you're really involved in. I hope that people just really would look at you and understand what you are and really steer clear of you. Don't give you no line, no light, no rhyme, no reason, no nothing. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat room before I proceed. Where is this at? Okay. You said autopsies would solve many mysteries there, but it's a poor country and probably not that advanced. Sadly, people from the West haven't considered that before going there. That's right, Four Rivers, GD. They don't think about what could be. Gail at Night says healthcare and security should be top of the list. Plus, I want to have my protection on me, on my person, in my home and vehicle. I heard that, but can you do that in Africa? I think I heard a rumor that they claim that they have like some guns. Is that the Gambia or is that Ghana? I thought you weren't supposed to have guns though. So I'm kind of shocked to hear if people can bring their gun, especially when you're flying on the airplane. I mean, unless you have some type of special permit or something. And what's up, social? How are you doing? No, I don't think you can have guns, and that's a problem for me. That's what I'm saying, Gail. How can you give up your last resort of protection because you could be overwhelmed by a crowd of people? They do things such as mob killings and all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't trust being outnumbered like that in a whole nother country. I couldn't do it.
Go and lie on me and go and create channels to lie on me and what, because of jealousy? Keep your jealous of.
What am I jealous of? I hope your end is just like what you believe others could have as an end. That's what I hope. I hope your end ends up the way in which you don't mind seeing others' end ending up as. Because you be walking around acting like your shit don't stink and that you are perfect and you look like a beast for real. I'm not lying. Look at that face. Look at her. A bore.
You jealous because I live here and I'm happy? You jealous because I got my nice home? You jealous because I have my family? Are you jealous because I'm happy living in Africa? Are you jealous because I'm free?
You broke up your family, so what am I jealous of? You may have another baby with another man that's probably not even committed to you. What am I jealous of? What do you have that I want? Nothing. Stop it.
Don't be jealous. Come and get it. It's here for you. Okay, so there's a message here that's up for review. I just need to look at it. Okay, thank you for the compliment. I won't show it though. I won't show it, okay? But I'll just hide your comment. That's from you, Jaguar, right? And so what I'm trying to say is that stop being scared. I'm tired and sick of this word of being scared. Be brave. Be courageous. That's what we need to. We need to be brave. We need to be courageous. We need to put our best foot forward. Our ancestors, regardless of whatever they were going through and everything that they could have gone through, they still remained fearless, because that's why we're here. Okay? When some were, saying that they don't want to go into that life, and they threw themselves off the boat to their own watery death because they were determining their own life, their own destiny. They had their own self-determination. And so
self-determination to kill yourself is what she is bigging up. The self-determination of the would-be slaves that jumped off the boats that committed suicide. That's what she wants us to believe. That's what we need to go do. Jump off that boat and drown. Listen to this.
That's what I'm saying. I want to read some of these comments, okay? So Afri-Carry Naturals, just as scary. Okay, I'm not going to use that word scary, okay? So I'm going to change it. I'm just going to start here. The whole world is plus the way.
She's not half Jamaican, Miss D? I thought that she's half white and half Jamaican. I've always thought of her as being. But if she's half Jamaican, wouldn't that still classify as her ancestor being a slave? But I think she has white in her. If I had to guess, I would guess that she is biracial.
It makes us looking in, just telling you how we feel. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that, okay, so if that is how you feel, I'm not going to invalidate your feelings. If that is how you feel, invalidate it. But what I am saying to you, is that Sorry, I don't know what's wrong with these. It's like they try and pull me offline. So I guess that's my cue to go. Wendy Green, how are you? Thank you for pointing out that, Juliet, because people are making Gambia seem unsafe. It's not unsafe. Yeah? It's not unsafe. Because someone gets attacked and someone gets murdered doesn't make the whole place unsafe, doesn't make everyone a murderer. Are you a murderer? No, you're not. Am I a murderer? No, I'm not. Okay? Not to say that there aren't people that do cruel things. Not to say that we don't know the whole set. If you look, he denied responsibility at court. Okay? The person, Augustine, as I put the report out on the community page, only 57 people looked at it. So it shows you that everybody wants to hear gossip, but they don't want to hear the truth. Okay, so I put out the report, the full report, okay? I put out the full report so you could see. I'm having internet issues. Okay, listen, the internet's messing up, but I'm just telling you that. How many black people were killed during apartheid? How many Africans were killed during apartheid? How many of us were killed? That wouldn't have stopped me from going to South Africa. Okay? So I just want to say, just go through. And if you have plans to come, still come. Don't allow any of this online garbage, and I'm calling it garbage because it's rubbish, okay, to deter you. Yes, there was an incident. Yes, a person died. Yes, many people have died here. And why? Because we live to die. Okay?
We live to die. Listen to that.
It's part of our life cycle. And it happens. And many people have died of health issues.
Are you living to die or are you living to live? Are y'all living to die? Or are you living to live? Again, what she is referencing is suicide. We want to live to die.
Or natural causes. But either way, we have a limited time and we must understand this. Unfortunately, her life was taken away. And why are we talking about it so much is because it's almost unheard of, isn't it? For it to happen here. So it shows that it's a rare occurrence. It's a very, very rare occurrence for that to happen here. And that's why people are shocked and talking about it. But doesn't that mean that it's safer here than where it is a common occurrence? And in the UK and in the US and other countries, it's in Brazil and other places, it's a common occurrence. In some Caribbean countries, it's a common occurrence. So, let's just, pick sense from nonsense, as they would say. Okay? Let's pick sense from nonsense. Yeah, there were several murders in the UK while I was there. Several. And yes, I admit, the racist...
I think that she is biracial. What do you say, Four Rivers? GD says, yes, Juliet might be a Caribbean mixed race. Many Caribbeans freely go to the UK for a better life. She's running the slave ship narrative to play on people's emotions. Yeah. That's all she continually does. She references us to being slaves. We're not slaves today, but in her mind, we need to go back to talking as if we're slaves today. You said, is she trying to justify these women's murder with apartheid? Yes, she is. Yes, she did. These panties, domestic and foreign, is cuckoo. Very weird women. Yes, they are. So this is what I wanted to show y'all, like a little snippet of her. I don't want to drag it out. Well, I guess I could play a little bit more, but I just wanted y'all to understand how unempathetic she is about these deaths, how convinced she is that she can convince and control the narrative to have y'all still come, to have you still fly, to have you still try, and on to boot, talking about land, purchases that she's still calling herself selling, even though her name is connected to so-called scams. You can't make this shit up. But this is what we got going on. I'm going to keep up on what is going on in Gambia, irregardless. I feel like most of us don't care. Well, we're caring now, but I would say most of us don't care to like stay on top of stories like I try to do. And I'm going to keep on trying to stay on top of these types of stories. Hopefully things will simmer down in the Gambia to where no more deaths will happen. I hope. But if they do, hopefully we will learn about it so that we can report it, because I'm sure that they're going to try to keep it more silent now that all this stuff has happened. Because I believe if they could have, they would not have said nothing about Shakina. I think that they were hoping to let that slip through the crevices, but it was leaked out anyways. So, hopefully people will stay transparent and they will share information regarding anything pertaining to Africa so that we can know the numbers of people that are affected by whatever happens, whether it's a scam, whether it's a death, whether it's an illness. These things have to be addressed when you do decide to go abroad, more so than ever, because of the conditions on the ground. And as I stated, in my opinion, women that are from the West are going to have a much harder time getting along with the Western African culture. That's my opinion, because we're too strong-minded, individualistic, and we speak our mind. If we don't speak our mind, then we're going to have a problem. For the most part, we would have a problem. But if those men are stalking and beating you up, controlling you, pimping you, forcing you, that's a whole nother story. You know what? I wanted to play something about Anja, Africa, again, because she wants to make it seem like it's just so precious. Let me let y'all hear some more of this crazy lady as I look up that video. I hope I can find it, where Anja has said something very peculiar in one of her videos.
And so many other things combined, including the way in which they exploit us for money, and the constant exploitation for money. It was one of the key reasons also why I left. On top of the discrimination, the constant discrimination, the racism issues that I had for myself and for my children, it was unbearable and intolerable. And so that's the reason why I left. I don't want to live where I'm not wanted. Here, when I look around, I'm surrounded by people who look like me. Whether they're good or whether they're bad, they look like me, and I feel more comfortable and safe in this environment than I ever did there. Okay? And yes, it is safe for you to visit. It is safe for you to visit even if you're single or if you come with friends, okay? Or if you come with family. Yes, it is safe to visit. And I was with holiday makers last night, and I said their names so that you know that they're there, and I just want to say thank you very much for coming. They had a wonderful time, okay? And I'm in the Gambia. I am in the Gambia, okay? So I am talking from the Gambia. I'm in the Gambia. I'm aware, and I knew also some of the people who passed, and I am in the Gambia, okay? So I just want you to know that it's not an everyday occurrence. Also want to credit the Gambian police force for acting so quickly and so diligently and professionally, okay? Now, yes, there's the whole issue about other people and other nationals, but every nation commits crime. So I am not going to say, oh, this person that committed the crime was from this place or that place, because that is what it is, okay? And Gambia is a very beautiful place. If you haven't seen a lot of Gambia, I suggest that you go back to the old videos on my channel where I went around and I showed you a lot of Gambia. In fact, I put out a video today showing you one area of Gambia. Gambia is a very beautiful place. It has beautiful landscapes, beautiful beaches, beautiful places, beautiful villages. It has beautiful rivers. It's a very, very lush place. It also has lots of abundant agriculture as well. It's almost like a beach island. It's very beautiful and the people are vibrant and nice. And like I said, things happen, but it doesn't mean that they're going to happen all the time. Okay, or that it's going to be a regular occurrence. So I just want to say that because I also got lots of people.
Even if you don't have something tragic happen, according to Anja, certain norms that you wouldn't expect to have cross your radar when trying to get to know the Gambian men, if you are a single woman and you would be suited by these types of men, these men that are looking out for other women to date or to marry. Let's look and listen to what she had to say about how that generally goes in the Gambia. A secret that was told to her that now she's going to share with us. Rest in peace to Anja. Again, it's about the culture of the Gambia that is not suitable for Black American or Western women of the West, in my opinion.
For a little late night pillow talk, I wanted to share a secret in Gambia that a lot of African diaspora may not be aware of unless they are from the continent. So I got put on a game today and I was like, I got to share this with my people, okay? And basically, this is about singles that are coming to the Gambia or to the continent with the intention of finding housing, dating Gambians, and maybe seeking relationships, right? Whatever kind of relationship that is. So let me start with the housing piece. Okay. When you come to the Gambia and you're looking for housing, you go up to someone and you could say, listen, are there any places available in this compound, in this apartment building, in this hotel, whatever? They will take you right there on the spot to look at what you're going to look at, right? So you got to pay attention, all right? Because I remember going into one spot in Senegambia that appeared to be an apartment building. When you walk in, it kind of has like that old school hotel feel. Do you know I get up to the second level of this place, right? Because I come in on the ground level. We walk up a flight of steps. I'm walking with the so-called manager. It's a female, older female. And there's a working girl at the top of the platform. Y'all can say what y'all want to say, but I know what a working girl look like, okay? Homegirl had on a super tight mini dress. She was waiting in the hallway to see who was coming up the steps. The dress had a plunge that was down to the navel. She had on these, we call them F-me pumps, super high stiletto heels, and was just standing in the hallway waiting. So I'm like, okay. So that was my first red flag. The lady walks me to the room, and it's literally a room with 2 double beds, and then it has like a little bathroom area. And I said, nah, this ain't what I'm looking for. I was like, you don't have nothing with views to the ocean, blah, blah. She's like, oh, no, we're too far from the beach. You need to go to this area. You need to go to that area. While she's talking to me, there's a girl coming out of a room down a hall trying to get her attention. And then I see some little young boy pulling up his pants as he's coming out the room. I'm like, oh boy, they're not even trying to hide this. So I done walked into a brothel. So yes, I did just politely say, okay, thank you, I'll check the areas you told me about, and I just kept it moving. Can you imagine? So I just walked out and I was shaking my head. Mind you, the police checkpoint is right outside this hotel. Tell me they don't know what time it is. Okay? So So I'm getting to this secret because I know y'all want to know. So I'm talking to this brother, and the brother says to me, I'm going to tell you something because you seem like good people. This is a secret that a lot of people don't know. I'm like, what is it? He said, brothers here have understandings with their women, right? If it's their wife, the wife will pass as a sister. The kids will pass as nieces and nephews while they are dating some European colonizer, Tuba, or African from the diaspora. So if you African American, you from the UK, whatever. They see all of those categories as having money. So they will take you to the family compound, have you buy a big bag of rice for the whole family, introduce you like you knew on the spot, but the whole gag be up on a scam. Like everybody's down from the babies up. Can you imagine? So these sisters be rolling through thinking they dating dudes and they meeting his family and it's all good, only to find out the so-called sister is the wife or the baby mama or the girlfriend or whoever, and she don't care what he do when he go to Europe with this woman, as long as he's sending money home to build a compound that she gonna be living in while they in Europe. And if they come back from Europe, she will go stay with her family or whatever to keep the flow going so that there's no problems. Can you imagine? So this one dude, he has a white wife. He has an African-American woman that he's dating that he sees often. He got a woman here on a continent in Africa that I believe is probably maybe Muslim wife, I'm not sure, that he got a bunch of kids with. This woman built, I believe the white woman's built like 3 compounds for him, bought him a vehicle, bought him a motorcycle, got him living his very best life. And once he gets tired of them, I guess, or he's gotten all he can get out of them, then he just moves on to the next person. And the rest of the family is down. I was like, yo.
Again, the culture of Gambia or West Africa, how African men move, it is not conducive for westernized Black women. Whether it's the United States or it's the UK or Canada, it is not suitable. These games that they're playing, also the bumpsters and others that lie in wait of tourists or lie in wait of single women, is still a prevalent issue that Anja brought out. Rest in peace to her for having the bravery to talk about those things. Because again, she mentioned that it was done at the airport. People would know where you were going. People would know kind of where you were. People could just wait and see that who you are by noticing you at the airport. And then from there begin the game of harassing and messing with you. This is the reality of the Gambia, according to Anja and also Victoria, or was it Veronica? I get the names mixed up. One of the other ladies that passed away, she mentioned about feeling unsafe. And so, yeah, let me see what you guys are saying before I end this. Hold on, let me go back. Thank you all for coming through. If you could, please like the video, share the video, subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay, let me see. You said, who is we? Her ancestors were not slaves. That's what you think? Maybe. You know, her ex-husband is Jamaican. Yeah, and I heard that she was British Jamaican. I heard that both of them were British Jamaican. Yeah, she's a mixed nut. You said it's easier to say that it's not unsafe when you're alive and haven't been robbed, harassed, assaulted, or stalked. Yeah. I heard supposedly somebody put hands on her one time, though. Like someone might have slapped her up one time. I got to start backwards because my phone, it keeps on flashing. It keeps on going up. Queen USA says the main African don't put the right address down at the airport. They don't? The main African? I don't know if that's true or not, but okay. You said you're a Nigerian American and never give the right address down at the airport. I think for a lot of us, though, we would not know that. We would think that that's what you had to go do according to what their procedures are. And so you would think that that's something that you had to do according to how they regulate the country. So they would still reluctantly give up whatever information they had. You said, yes, Anja is right about the wives knowing about the husband's mistresses. They do that in Jamaica too. Oh, wow. See, that's not something I would ever want to get involved in. That's so unbelievably based. Jesus Christ says, you can only warn people. Some people's mind control about returning to Africa is very strong. They refuse to see the dangers in living in a poor, underdeveloped country. It's unfamiliar territory. Yeah. Sounds as if she's out preying on holiday makers to recruit into her wicked web. Movement says, yep. Yes. What's up, Noble Scrolling Traveler? How are you doing? Please like the video. Please share the video. Subscribe to my channel. As I stated before in closing, Blaxit, Juliet, does not care about the outcomes of westernized women. If she did, you could hear it in her voice. You could hear it in her cries. You could hear it in her statements, but you have not felt nor heard no such thing because she doesn't care. She ultimately cares about the mission at hand, this mission to tell y'all what we need to do as far as moving somewhere else, that at another continent that has nothing to do with where we live, and spend money towards throwing at Africa for the betterment of the time for the people around that time that you're spending the money. But again, you are drawing out your resources and you are risking your life with everything that you do. And that is expected of us to continue to do, because as Black X had described it, we live to die. I don't live to die. I'm sorry. That's what she said that we do, though. That's what she wants y'all to do, to live to die. And that is just the mindset that she has. That's unfortunately the mindset of many Pan-Africans that think that we need to have when broaching this conversation called Pan-Africanism and African. It is not to our betterment with taking our time, in their opinion. They want us to be rash. They want us to be reckless. They want us to be out there clueless and blinded to the light of truth and reason and reality. It is their goal to keep this movement of Blaxit alive and kicking, which is from the UK. It was devised, I believe, by a secret society or witches, a coven. Most of those people that are in Pan-African spaces are practicing dark witches, just like Juliet admitted to having the divine goddess that she worships, and that she looks to a high priestesses. That just tells you in a nutshell what we got going on here. And hopefully people would understand what we got going on. Yes, everything is good. Thank you, Noble Scrolling. A lot of African countries are dangerous. Yes, they are. But let them tell it. It's not that bad after all. You said, why we got to send money to Africa? They need to get their money up on their own. They got all the resources to get all that money up, but they don't want to change from what they're doing among themselves is the problem. They got all the areas, all those countries, all those leaders. Why can't they have their own joint conference call to strategize and do things different. No, because they're in the back pockets of colonizers and globalists for the most part, except for those 3 countries that have currently had a coup. That would be Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Outside of those 3, I really don't see how other countries are not moving the way. Well, they don't look to be moving a different way. So Africa is in the Stone Age, as dinosaurs used to live. And they expect us to want to go back to that. And most of us just don't care to. And Pan-Africans are going to have to wake up to that reality that the people that's in America are not trying to leave. We don't care how rough and tough it turns out to end up being. This is our homeland. We don't care that you claim Africa to be your homeland. That's your business. We're not saying that you're an idiot to do so. I say that you're worshiping Africa, though, and I don't see why, because that is idolatry, and it's not going to bless you by worshiping a continent of land. That's my opinion. But for those that care to worship Africa, then have at it. Best of luck with the end and the outcome. But just don't expect me to be there alongside of you, because I'm not. So with that being said, let me see what you guys are saying, and then I'm going to go. Like MLK said to African or the African, this is the question. I don't know. These Pan-Africans are mainly Western scammers who create ways to extort money. Yep. Good afternoon to you, Pinky. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate that. Wow, I think I read that already. So I hope that this will be an informative video. I know that I've been talking about her a little bit lately, but it was because of the lack of luster of commenting about the deaths that caused me to have to do the video to begin with, because she's one of the main people left in the Gambia that supposedly is rocking this movement called the Blaxit. Unfortunately, Shekinah was another figure that was the face of repatriation who unfortunately lost her life. Rest in peace to her. But this movement has taken a big blow with the death of Shekinah, and they're trying to scramble about to fix what this fire has brought to their house. And I don't think it's repairable, to be honest. I still think, and I'm still going to warn, single women, don't dare go to Gambia. Don't do it. Leave it alone. It is not peaceable at a beach. You can get harassed there. That's what Anja said, and that's what African Repat had stated, her own experience on the beach in the Gambia. So, single woman, be warned. Be warned. That's all I got to say. You know that Juliet is not Black American. No, she's not, but they still call themselves speaking for us. Their movement, Blaxit, which is UK-based, is now came to United States through Ashley, who is a YouTuber, and she used the term Blaxit in her New York Times article. So now she's linking it to America, and everybody's talking about the exodus of America, of Black Americans everywhere you go. People are talking about cities that we're going to in Africa, talking about different states we're going to or countries we're going to. This phenomenon is what they want us to be on. This movement, they want us to be there. They paid a lot of money, effort, and time to have this be the reality of talking about this movement. But this movement has a lot of cons attached to it. This movement has a lot of traps that ensnares a lot of people. And this movement would devastate a lot of people financially because of the scams. These scams have not went away. The scammers have not been deterred. The scammers are emboldened because they have not been caught and held to justice. So they're going to continue. And if you're not scammed, then you're building a house and it might be incomplete. It might be completed. You might lose your life. You might get sick. You might become homeless or miss budget. All kinds of things that can happen to you with rashly moving to do something out the blue and jumping into water. Like Blaxit thinks jumping into the water, killing yourself was better than us living. But the people that lived through slavery is alive today. That's the reason why we live today. People lived and struggled to live life. They didn't live to die. But that's what Pan-Africanism wants to instruct us to do, to live to die. What she say? We live to die. If that's what you're here for, that's a sad place to be. Because you're talking about suicide. You said Black Americans not moving to African countries en masse, and those that go come home and no longer call themselves Africans. Facts. Four Rivers GD says, Natalie Lee, yes, many African don't know why Americans think they're African. Okay, wait, let me see. Many Africans don't know why Americans think they're African. They don't know about the lies Pan-Africans teach American Blacks about them being African. And it's no offense, y'all, when we say we're not African. We just want to recognize our identity as being American. That's what we always been. Just because this movement has shown up finally does not mean we have to do what this movement is calling for. That is sheeple people. And I hope that this platform will provide people that want to think critical about their survival to come here and listen to what I'm talking on. Some of the stuff may be a little bit redundant, but that's because my channel was not being heard before. And hopefully this time around, people will hear me now. So I hope that you guys would support by liking the video, sharing the video, subscribe to my channel, give me an opportunity to express what it is that needs to be expressed as an independent-minded individual who intends to keep her mind and wits about her. And I don't want to be influenced by movements and trends and people that don't have any good thoughts about us to begin with. A lot of people that want us to risk it all don't care a flying fuck about you. They don't care a flying fuck about you. And that is the truth. Let me see. You said, Pinky says, Black Americans are not African, not the same culture nor DNA. Facts. Facts. Golden Heart says, I lived in Africa for almost 2 years just to realize that I am not African. I am not their people. I know. Golden Heart, you had to learn the hard way. I hope that it wasn't hurtful, though, too hurtful. And to be honest, African culture is better. That's your opinion, but I don't think so. I haven't seen anything too impressive about y'all culture. Y'all dancing in dirt and doing rituals and doing sacrifices. And no, I don't see it. That's just me. But to each his own. If that's what you feel like, that's what you feel like. It's kind of sad that Africans don't want to represent their homeland, Africa. Yeah, it is. And that they expect us to represent their homeland. I mean, how does that make sense? Child soldiers are still slaves today by their own people. Yes, they are. But nobody wants to talk about that. But see, I talk about those types of things. I talk about things that will make your mind expand and also question things that are going on around us pertaining to propaganda or misinformation or gaslighting or this thing that they do called bashing and criticizing Americans, Black Americans in particular. Now, some of my messages might work for other people as well, like some Caribbeans, but I don't like to speak for Caribbeans because I'm not one. But for those that might feel the same way that I do, I I ask that you support me as well, because this message can also be utilized for whoever finds it useful. But I just want to have a voice, and I want others to come to my platform and state comments on how you feel about the topic. In all honesty, don't hold back, tell the truth, and I will try to reply as best I can. Sometimes YouTube holds back the comments, so it's hard for me to see all your comments, but I do try to reply to all comments as best I can. Now, the last video that I did prior to this live, it was my second live I did yesterday. And for some strange reason, I guess the timing of it all, right after I did my first live, I came right back and people didn't realize I was live. I think that my notifications were hidden. So I'm asking that you guys would go and review that last video. It was kind of a nice video to do. And it's very informative on talking about Pan-Africans and how they are moving, how they're enticing us to set us up and line us up for devastating outcomes. And we cannot trust the bulk of these Pan-Africans that are preaching, because again, they're globalizers themselves. They are working in conjunction with the other globalizers that they claim and scream about that they don't want to be bothered with, but they're in cahoots with them. And that is the truth. But sometimes it's hard to point these things out because people just like to believe in a lie, calling Black people all unity and we all black skin, we all get along, we all have love, we all have respect. Where is that done anywhere? There's a lot of people you need to avoid and steer clear of. What are you talking about? But that's the unrealisticness of Pan-Africanism. And that's what I talk against. You said Juliet blocked me from her live today for saying the same thing. Oh, wow. See? And for Rivers, GD said, yes, child abuses is popular in Africa. When they think the children are witches, they kick them out to fend for themselves. Yeah, I heard about that. And Black Americans have their own culture. We don't need African culture that they don't even want. Pinky Wells says, yes, that's what I'm saying. I think that our morality can be improved. I think that we could do more to fend for our own selves and not worry about everybody else because they're not worrying about us, other than what can we do for them. And no, I'm not disrespecting my ancestors. My ancestors that I honor are the ones that made it to America. Those are the ones that paved the way for me to be here in America and to be who I am today. Even though a lot of my family failed me in a lot of different respects, still the struggle that they endured allowed me to be alive. So I respect ancestors that I can prove are my actual ancestors. I don't praise people that are supposedly in another landmass that I have no connection to. I'm not putting over a landmass of people over my true ancestors of America. That's the thing that you can't seem to get. Because in my opinion, we were already in America. Most of us were already here. And the few that did come in, the percentage is a lot lower than what they would give us credit for. And those Africans that actually made it to this land intermingled with Black Indians and other races of people to be who we are today. So we are our own people. We have our own culture. We have to work on our morality, and we have to work on our courage, and we have to work on our mind. That's what this channel intends to try to do, for those that are open to listen and try to get what I'm talking about. For all the others, then they can stay haters and feel and do whatever they want. But I'm going to do what I feel I need to do. You said, how do you know that the UK and Caribbean people are African? Pinky says, or to Pinky Wells. And For River says, for Black Righteous, yes, the video you did on Pan-Africans and its origins was excellent. Yeah, I hope you guys will watch it because I really got a good source from UB TV, I think it's called. But he really broke it down. But you know, the notion of Prince Hall and how he really came to be, and how he seemed to bring up the term African and brought that to the declaration of conversation. It was coexisted together with the colonization of Africa. How did that word become a part of American terminology? Because it was brought forth by the UK, indirectly by the colonization and through the warring of us trying to become independent as America, breaking away from British rule, how they wanted to have attachments to us through the secret society of Freemasonry. I think I'm saying it right. Freemasonry. As someone was corrected the way I was saying the word before. But anyways, secret societies have been around for hundreds of years. They've always had a... Sorry about that. My phone is getting hot, so I'm going to have to go. But I really appreciate everybody for being here. Seven Godly says when it comes to Caribbean, it has to do with the evil Queen Elizabeth, etc. Okay, that's right. My phone is overheating, unfortunately, so I have to go. But I appreciate everybody for coming through. I wish I could play a song real quick, but my phone is about to die. Yeah, ask your question real quick. Chicken Guy 368. Thank you for coming through, Seven Galley. I really appreciate you. Nat Lee as well. Please like the video. Please share the video. Please subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm waiting on your question, Chicken Guy, if you could ask. So true, Black immigrants are doing crimes in the United States. When the news reports it is like Black Americans are doing them. That's why we need to delineate, because we are not having our own identity. Okay, I was like, what's happening? Yeah, my phone is giving out, but hopefully I'll try to wait for a minute and see if it's gonna be okay. Salute Nat Lee. I'm here late as usual. I know, huh? I'm waiting for somebody to say something before I go, though. Someone says that they had a question for me and I was going to answer the question. If you could hurry up, please, before my phone dies. If it dies again, y'all, I'm just going to go, just to let you know. But I really appreciate everybody supporting me lately. Okay, please, let me, yeah, okay. So now I got to delete you forever. After all that, did you hear Trump calling us Black Americans not African? That's right. He knows. He knows. And it's no offense. I have nothing against Africans. I just don't want nobody trying to trample on my identity. I am in my 50s, y'all. I don't want nobody trampling on my identity. Is that so hard to understand? I don't want people that's coming from the UK trying to redirect my identity. And that's what's happening through pan-Africanism. I'm sorry that people feel like we ought to be calling ourselves Africans, but that is just not the way in which I have lived my life this whole entire time. 10 years ago, y'all weren't on this kick. Why are you on this kick now? Because y'all have been sent. Y'all have been sent. You know, don't be coming 50-something years talking about you African now. That's fighting words. That's not self-hate. I've always been a Black American my whole entire life. I've only recognized this landmass my whole entire life. I only know of this landmass my whole entire life. Stop trying to change my reality to yours, to an imagination of yours. That is not being disrespectful. That's being honest. But people won't receive our honesty because they think we should not have a word to say. That's the problem. People are treating us as if we are foster kids, like I used to be, or orphaned. And we do have voices and we do have rights, and we should be expressing ourselves and letting people understand where we're coming from. And they should respect our choice to choose ourselves. We're choosing ourselves as somebody significant to care about. We're not trying to scratch our own life to replace it with everybody else's life. That's the way in which people want us to go. Yes, we are indigenous people to America, but people don't want us to believe that. People don't want us to believe that. And that's unfortunate. But I really appreciate that guy was a troll. He asked a dumbass question. That's why he got blocked out for the rest of the day. And when I see you again, chicken guy, I'm just going to block you for good, but I didn't think to do that. Again, please check out my last video before this video. I will put this video up public, but the video prior to this video is a very good video about Pan-Africanism, about their ploy to deceive and cause us to not keep our mind focused on where we are. I think it's detrimental to our survival to be in two places at once. I think that it keeps us weakened and confused and scatterbrained to stay that way. So I hope that people will raise up and steer clear of being a flip-flopper. Please don't do it. Oh yeah, I was in foster care. I was also orphaned. I was in a children's home first. You know, that's where I draw my strength from. I know what I never want to be a part of, a new system that I didn't choose. I don't want to be put in and thrown into a system I didn't have approval over. People want to try to dictate to us what we're going to have in our life while they're somewhere else, while they're from somewhere else, or the ideology is from another country. Pan-Africanism stemmed from UK. It's not even an American concept. It became popularized in America, but that was over 100 years ago. It is not popular today, as they're claiming it is. But social media is tricky because it gives the illusion of witchcraft mirroring what it wants to mirror. And you have different people that speak in the same way all the time. It gives this illusion that this movement is really justified in America when it's not. Okay, you said I was born here in this country, not Africa, shaking my head. Yep, that's the truth. So again, I appreciate everybody for coming through. I appreciate everybody for liking the video. For some strange reason, it feels as if sometimes I'm asking for a pint of blood, or I'm asking for a kidney or a spleen or something. I just need you to hit the like. It doesn't cost a thing. It just enables others to see it and enables others to be notified of it. It makes it better for the video to be shown. So please do so. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. And Mr. Yadig, although black is a color, it's better than being placed in another continent as an African American. Yes. I don't have problems with black only because it was on my birth certificate, and I feel like if I delete the term black, that means that I'm forgetting about people that was connected to that terminology, which is a part of my family and a part of our history. And it was what we were called before. We have been changed around with different names, though, you know, throughout the years. It was Negro, freedman, colored, mulatto, Black Indian, different tribes of names, colored, Black, African American. How many ways can we have different names? This is why all this confusion is here. And this is why people are messing with us specifically, because of all these name changes, because they feel like now they can have us grouped and roped together into a herd of sheep. But we got to come up out of not speaking up more. And I pray that there'll be more voices like mine, because I'm not a good speaker, y'all. I'm not meant to be a speaker. I'm meant to think and write. That's what I do. I think and write. But I've been forced to speak because there's not enough people speaking like me. And there's too many people that's claiming to represent me speaking. And I can't have them speaking for me. So I have got to now speak. So this is what I'm doing. And this is what it is. Correction, is better to be called Black American than African American. It puts you in another continent. Exactly. You're right about that. I know we are indigenous people. I don't think our people know it. They're starting to get it. No, I'm not going to do that right now, Addie. 7 Galley, that's a lot of goddamn name changes. Think about it and ask why, if African. Exactly. Why would it have to take so long to get to the right term if we were African? They've been through so many trails and valleys and dips and turns to go through all those different name changes to now suddenly bring up the term African. And I just think that it's not good to be having us toss and turn all around with our names. I think it's up to us to name ourselves. I think that if we all got emboldened to self-identify and put that shit, notarized and turn it into some organizations to let it be known that you're changing your identity for your own claim. Think about it. We have transgender people changing their identity, changing their sex. Nobody's batting an eye about none of that. People are jumping around with stuff jiggling in the air, and they still calling themselves women, ladies, a female. But I can't self-identify my own self as a Black woman? How is that fair? How does that make sense? We all have to self-identify because we've been letting the government identify us. And so I think that FBA and ADOS was a good concept because self-determining your identity is powerful. Unfortunately, I don't trust the two so-called people that's ahead of these organizations. That's why I self-identified myself personally, self-notary, or got it notarized at a post office. I call myself Indigenous Black American. That's why I self-identify myself. And when I get my new identification, I'm going to change my identity to Indigenous Black American. In any application or anything moving forward, I'm calling myself that. I'm taking control of my identity. And I'm trying to convince y'all to do the same, because what if FBA is called a hate group by the FBI, hypothetically? What if? What would you do? What if you lumped into this hate thing? Shouldn't you want to fall back on your own feet to save your own self with your own scenario of thinking about what you want to call yourself? FBA ADOS is a social media phenomenon. It is nowhere seen outside of the social media. So what kind of power do you really have rocking that name, FBA and ADOS? So with that being said, thank y'all all for coming through. Pan-Africanism is ridiculous, but I appreciate everybody for listening. I'll probably be back in the next day or so with another live, I'm sure, to talk about something quite different and interesting. So please go and like the video, share the video, and subscribe to my channel. You said, then go, then internet, sir? Oh, okay, I see him now. Bet. Thank y'all. Have a great day.